Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Reporter-Telegram's Area Football Report. I'm Len Hayward here with Oscar Leroy. We are in week 4 here in the high school football season. We're 5 weeks in. We're getting down to the point to where some districts are starting last 1 or 2 games of the non-district season. Interesting week coming up here in the area. First of all, Greenwood had a big win last week against San Angelo Lakeview, down to their 5th quarterback, right?
Yes, 5th string quarterback.
Well, I don't know whether you call him 5th string. He's 5th on the depth chart.
Yes.
But pretty good win for Greenwood for a number of factors. One, they came back and won it against a team they lost to last year. Second one was, I guess that shows the versatility of Hannah's system, that he's able to take a kid who hadn't played quarterback in his life and have success with it. I guess that's something that's got to show how versatile that system is, I guess.
Pretty much, but it also shows how versatile the kids are.
Right.
Because for Jesse to never played quarterback before, he goes, the most he's ever done was maybe hand off, like in their own system, their own wishbone. He goes, I've never played quarterback before. Right. But for him to take to that coaching and to learn it right away, I think says a lot about the players and what Hannah has to work with more than maybe the system does.
Is that a pretty good? Is that a watershed win for them? Could that launch them as the season progresses?
I think so. I wrote in a blog that was probably a defining moment in Coach Hannah's career there, because it showed that the kids believe in not only the system but in Coach Hannah and his staff, and that says a lot, because a lot of teams would have probably buckled under that, down 34-16 with 7 minutes remaining, and maybe past Greenwood teams would have just said, that's it, I'm done. But these kids just kept fighting and fighting, kept believing. And you get an onside kick and the fumble, and it just everything went their way down that stretch.
Right. This week, interesting game. Who will start at quarterback this week against Sweetwater?
Jesse will start at quarterback. Jesse Madrid will start at quarterback.
So do we have
again.
a quarterback controversy when Caden comes back?
We might.
Or Cam comes back?
Yeah, we might, because Cam is still at least maybe a week away. He's got a broken bone in his hand about the top of a finger, and it hurts more than anything. But he can't throw the ball. He can't throw the football.
Right.
He played some defense. He played some safety last week. He also ran the ball, so he can do those things. But as far as throwing the ball, he can't do that. Caden Hatley with a shoulder, he's probably also a week away. When he comes back, I think Caden will take over, and Jesse will go back to playing more as linebacker slash wide receiver role.
Well, it could be interesting during the bye week if he gets all of those kids healthy. Their bye week, I think, is the 8th, right? They don't play
the 15th.
15th.
The 15th is their bye week.
Okay.
And the thing that Coach Hannah said when Caden went down, he said, "This is going to help us in the long run, because in case if this happens again, we have other kids with experience now."
Right. That's true. That's something that could be big for them. On the other end of the spectrum, we go across the Permian Basin a little bit to Andrews. Picking up a loss to Lovington. Not many people expected. Texas teams hardly ever lose to New Mexico teams, let alone schools like Andrews. But was that win a surprise? Was that loss a surprising loss by Andrews, or is Lovington possibly that good this year?
Both.
Okay.
Both. Because Lovington has their Jacob Jameson, the quarterback, is the all-time passer in Lovington history.
That's a pretty
I don't know if that's what that means to most Texas fans.
Right.
But Lovington has had a pretty solid quarterback in the past, and I've seen Lovington play enough to know how good their quarterbacks can be. But for them to be giving up 63 points, I think that's the shocker more than anything.
Right.
At home, they scored. Andrews scored 39, but 23 of those points came in the fourth quarter. So
when things were sort of decided.
It was sort of 63-16. So I think the way that Lovington went in there and rolled with them, I think that's the most surprising part. But, Coach Cordell doesn't really put too much emphasis on these early games because he knows that the important games are in district.
Right. Where do they go from here, though?
Hopefully get better.
Right.
Jeff Cordell said, today that he believes this team is still better than last year, because at this point last year they were winless.
That's true.
They got off to a rougher start. Now they're 2-2. Going to Anthony, which is basically on the other side of the state, almost to another country. But their goal is to get more consistent in everything they do, and still continue to get better. That team is still growing.
Right. We go now to Andrews Andrew's rival, Big Spring. They don't play each other anymore, but Midland Christian will take on Big Spring on Friday night in Memorial Stadium. Very interesting matchup. This game's probably going to be very similar to the Monahans Midland Christian game. Maybe not in score-wise, but in the fact that both teams like to play physical, both have a little bit of speed. And Big Spring is coming off a loss to where did Coach Ritchie kind of feel like that was a disappointing loss with the way those kids played?
Yes, because he thought his team probably played the worst game of the year.
Oh, wow.
Too many mistakes, fumbles, blocked punt. Just everything went wrong against Monahans. But Monahans is that good. They make a lot of teams look bad.
Right.
But yeah, he said they didn't play as well as they have been. So hopefully this is the game that'll get them back on track. But Midland Christian also wants to get back on track. Because like Big Spring, they're coming off a loss against Monahans.
Right. This will be an interesting game for the fact that this game likely will, a lot like Monahans, Big Spring, this game could be determined on the interior lines. Big Spring's experienced offensive line could make a big difference in this one, couldn't they?
They could, but Coach Ritchie also pointed out that Midland Christian's line is pretty big.
Right.
So that's what concerns him, the size that Midland Christian has. That concerned Monahans, but Monahans did a pretty good job. So if Big Spring can use its speed, they can overcome the size of Midland Christian. But it should be interesting because like I said, both these teams are coming off losses, so you really don't know how each team is going to react going into that game.
Yeah. And Coach McClendon said he's a little concerned about the back end speed that Big Spring has in their secondary. And he said one of the things that's different about playing Monahans as compared to Big Spring. Against Monahans, he felt like they could get a couple big plays, if they did what they were supposed to do. Against Big Spring, he's not so sure. He's thinking they're going to have to grind out a couple drives to be able to score some points on this one.
Monahans is pretty fast when I saw him. So.
He seems to think Big Spring's faster. So, who's going to win this game?
Oh boy, I'm going to have to go with Big Spring at home.
Like Big Spring at home?
Yeah.
I like Big Spring at home in this one too. I think that they'll bounce back pretty well. Midland Christian's still got a little bit of work to do. And then we got a big game coming up in Stanton on Friday night. Class A, Division II, District 2. I think I got all that right. Class 2A, Division 2, District 2. I think I got all that right. Okay. Anyway, Coahoma at Stanton. Two teams playing very well right now. Not flashy on offense, but defensively, both these teams are pretty doggone good. Is this game going to be 7-0?
It could be, yes. Coach Trey Gardner said today, I'll take a 2-0 win. It doesn't matter. But the way these teams are playing defense right now, that's going to be the determining factor because I think, it might get ugly. It might be 7-3. It might be 7-6.
Right.
So it depends on what, which team shows up and makes more of the defensive plays. Coahoma going into Crane last week, that was a pretty impressive. Holding Golden Cranes to 7 points at El Ave Stadium.
Right.
That hardly ever happens.
Yeah. That's true.
Especially in recent years. I know Crane is not the Crane it has been in the previous years, but to go in there
and dominate like they did.
And plus, Coahoma had like 2 turnovers after long runs. They fumbled the ball.
Right.
So it could have been a lot worse.
Right.
So the way they're rolling and believing that system, I think they're just, they're going to this game ready and rolling. Stanton also rolling going to this game. Senior-laden team.
Yeah.
This is going to be a great battle to start that district.
This is a game where a playmaker or two could make a difference. We're talking to Tanner Ruiz, a Ramos, a Tyler Fulton. This could be a game where someone like they could pop up, should make the plays to win this game instead of somebody coming out of nowhere to win them. This is a playmakers type of game. Right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. And they may come down to just one play.
Right.
That's how I think these teams are very even going in.
Who do you think's going to win?
I'm going to take Stanton just because they're at home, but it could be a 1-point game, 7-6. That's what I'm saying. That's right, 7-6. That's my prediction.
I like Coahoma in this one. I like the way they're playing right now, especially offensively and defensively. I think Coahoma's going to go into Stanton and win this game, but I think the score will be 6-3. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of points scored. I think this game is probably going to be over by 9:45 p.m.
Hopefully for deadline's sake, yes.
Yes. Hopefully for deadline's sake, 9:45 p.m. One more game we need to talk about, the Battle of Texas in the NFL, the Cowboys at the Texans on Sunday. Do the Cowboys end their slide?
I'm going to say the Texans are going to win, but every time I pick the other team, the Cowboys bounce back.
Right.
And the Cowboys, are just the type of team that, you don't know which team's going to show up. So, the Cowboys could bounce back and beat Texans by 14, but to be safe, I'm going to pick the Texans going in.
Okay. I like the Texans in this one too. I like the way they're playing too, but it's the NFL, so every team is Jekyll and Hyde. You never know which team is going to show up. So going to be a great week this week in high school football, especially in Class 2A, Division 2, District 2 play starts this week. Also, district play starts up in Class 2A, Division 1, District 2, which is Crane, Wall. I think a few other teams. Wall and Colorado City are undefeated in that one right now, and I believe Kermit is undefeated as well. So games will start up in this week. It's going to be a very interesting district, and Crane has a lot of work to do if they're going to be among those 3 teams to make the playoffs in that one.
So. And they have to go to Wall, and Wall has a lot of playmakers back, the Raspberry brothers, I think.
Yeah.
So that could be interesting to see. That might determine whether Crane's going to be fighting for a district championship or not.
Yeah, and it's very different. There's no split division. There's nothing. Enrollment means nothing now. The districts are set in Class 2A, so if you finish in the top 3, you're going. You know what division you're going to be in. Everything's set. So I'd like to thank you for joining us here on the Reporter-Telegram Area Football Report. I'm Len Hayward. That's Oscar Leroy. Thank you for joining us.